I look at you, not the camera, right?
Well, it's a conversation, so yes.
See all your tags.
It's a lot. Okay, hello, everybody. Welcome to the August version of Lunch with the Mayor. We're happy to have everybody here. If you don't know who this person to my right is, this is our Northwest District City Council member, Tad Varga. Hi, Tad. Thanks for joining us today. As always, if you have questions of me or have questions of Tad, feel free to just put it into the chat there. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, as always, you can get our contact information on the City of Columbia City website, columbiacity.net, or certainly you can contact me directly at the office, 260-248-5111, or rdaniel@columbiacity.net. T Varga at columbiacity.net is another one. Correct. There. So in any case, we're going to have a little conversation here. And obviously at the end we'll also talk about some past issues and some other things. But if there's questions or thoughts that you have that you want us to discuss, please go ahead and put them in the comments and we'll be happy to discuss those. So with that, sort of introduced you already, but will you introduce yourself a little bit? Talk about name, occupation, how long you've lived in Columbia City, background information, etc.
Sure. So my name is Tad Varga. I have lived in Columbia City. This is my 30th year.
Wow.
So I'm
Nice.
not a local
Nice.
or a native
Yes.
to the area,
Yes. But
I
you
feel
chose it. You chose Columbia
my
City.
wife used to drive through Columbia City as a child,
Okay.
going to the Barbie Lake chain,
Ah.
and she said, I want to live in Columbia City when I get older because of the downtown
Yeah.
fair that still goes on. And
Okay.
she that always stuck in her mind, and so when we decided to move to this area of the state, that's why we chose Columbia City.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what you do for a living outside of being a council member.
Sure. So me and my wife and my brother-in-law Victor started a company called Three Birds Casual 26 years ago, and it was we started as a hobby importing antique bird cages
Okay.
from Asia, and then that evolved into manufacturing patio furniture. So now we design, manufacture, and distribute luxury patio furniture to hotels, resorts, residential projects, retailers all over North America and the Caribbean. And actually now South Korea.
And now
Because
South
we
Korea.
just set up a dealer
Nice.
in Seoul, Korea. Yes.
And so you started in your home?
Started in a spare bedroom in our
Spare
house.
bedroom? Okay. And
Just
then-
right 2 blocks from where we're sitting right now.
Yep. And moved down to the old Post and Mail building for
We
a
were
short
in the
period, right?
Post and Mail building for probably 10 years.
That's where the Hockemeyer McNagny law office is. Myers Hockemeyer
Yeah.
McNagny. So.
And then moved out to Industrial Park here in town.
Yeah.
And so we just expanded again
Yeah.
3 years ago, and then we just purchased another building 6 months
Yeah.
ago. So
Excellent.
we're steadily growing. So,
Steadily
yes.
growing. That's fantastic. So if you didn't know, we have basically luxury patio furniture that's manufactured across seas but sold here.
Yeah.
In this area for sure. So that's awesome. Okay. So what council district do you represent, and what neighborhoods are included?
So I represent the Northwest region, which is the northwest part of the city.
Part of the city. Yep.
Mostly, northwest of downtown and out towards the 4-H Fairgrounds area, and I think there's a little pocket just east of Kroger.
Yep. So the Countryside Mobile Home Park.
Yeah,
You cover that.
in that area.
Basically everything north of 30, I think you cover as well, except for
Irish
Glen
yeah,
and Eagle
or
Glen,
Eagle
obviously.
Glen,
But
so, yeah.
everything that's to the west of there, that's what you cover.
Yeah.
Plus, you kind of come down in a V in a
Yeah, 'cause
little
it's
ways.
changed, so it's
kind
kind
of
of like is it the Main Street or
something
one
like
side of
there,
Main?
Chauncey Street or something. It's
Yeah,
something like
I know.
that.
But yeah.
So
Roughly that
basically,
area.
if you think, I moved my camera has moved somehow. I must have, so sorry about that. I'm going to try my best to, I told you guys last time, I'm still working on this camera angle, so, sorry
But you're
about
the
that.
star of the show. Anyway, so
Well,
you
I
should
don't know
be the
about that. I
one.
don't know about that. So, okay, well, let's see. Hold on. Let's see if I can, okay, I'm going to do it here real quick. Let's see if I can move it. I'm going to move it here. Okay. This is a comedy show here right now, so I'm sorry here. Let's do this. Now, stay. Nope. Go over here.
It's a camera, not a golden retriever.
That's true. I don't know why it's tracking.
Well, now it's
I
on
told
me.
it not to track, so hold on. Come on this way. Nope, come this way. Come this way. Come on. Hello.
Just this alone is worth coming. To
This. Well, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. It's everybody that is tuning in here. We're having some technical difficulties. I don't want to go this way. I want to go this way. Let's see.
Well, this isn't ABC Studios. We are in the mayor's office.
That's
so.
true, and everything's being ran by somebody who's not an IT professional, for the record. So, okay, let's hope that we can stay generally here. Let's see.
I'll try not to move my hands.
Okay, well, I do it too, so let's hope that works. And if it doesn't, thanks for sticking with us, everybody. Okay, I'm sorry. So, long story short is there are a lot of the neighborhood. So basically, if you are in the northwest section of the city, you're probably in Tad's district.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so after that little brief pause, how long have you served on council, and what drove you originally to run for office and continue to be reelected?
So this is my 9th year. Does that sound right? 9th or 10th year? So I was elected in 2016, and I initially was interested in it. I was involved with our swim program
Sure.
locally with
Yep.
a couple, and my kids were younger then, and they were involved with swim, and I know that there was a need for, the Burnworth pool had closed,
Yeah.
and we were trying to.
Figure out what to do,
and
yep.
And so that was a stage of my life where we were really passionate about that. And so really that drove me to become involved because I really wanted to see a really nice
Be a
facility built.
Absolutely.
And so that was really what moved me to run
to run for council.
and then spent a lot of time with yourself
Yeah.
and Lori and our past Parks Department director, raising funds and
Yeah.
money.
And money. Funds and money. Uh-huh.
To see that to come
Yep.
to fruition, and now it's there. and-
Yeah, I think a lot of people may not have known that you were a part of that kind of that development, if you will, and it's always great to have people who are passionate about certain things, and I'm guessing that over time, I mean I know you well enough to know this, but over time, that may have been maybe one of the primary reasons that you ran, but you've kind of diversified and you're doing lots of other things. So kind of along that line, what other parts of the of city government or whatever are you involved in, and kind of what are you finding new passions for?
So I love just being involved. I just like being
Sure.
I like being involved. And the way that the aquatic center was received, and my kids are older now, so they lifeguarded there, they swam there,
Yeah.
but they're older now, they're getting married, and they still live in town.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're blessed to have that.
Yes.
And but I love seeing things like that being utilized well, and so to like the development of the downtown that we're working on now for the new plan.
Yes.
I mean, just things like that. I mean, I've lived here for 30 years now, and so I've seen how it has evolved and changed for the better in the last, 15 years. And I think that the sky's the limit. I think that there's lots of things that can be done to continue that upward growth and expansion, and just making a nicer place to live.
Sure.
So.
And so along that line, you're involved in the redevelopment commission and
Yes.
some of the things that are happening there. You've been involved in a lot of different pieces of the puzzle, if you
Yes.
will. I think right now you may be on what the
So now-
parking committee. And,
Parking, I've been on the parking committee, I believe the entire
time. They said, "Who wants to be on parking committee?"
Yes.
And Ted wasn't
I,
there.
I was
to
probably
say no.
gone that night, and so I was
Yes,
voluntold.
I can
that I'm
almost
on that.
promise you. Yes.
And then I was been on redevelopment the entire time, which is
Yes.
redeveloping
Yep.
buildings, bringing businesses to town, that
Yep.
aspect of the of what we do. And then recently, I've been on the ordinance committee
Yep.
for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And this, I guess this year, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning a lot about how that functions and the intricacies of
Yeah.
that. And yeah, so that's been really
Yeah.
enjoyable and eye-opening.
So I think what's interesting is a lot of people maybe don't know is that we do kind of have an ordinance committee, if you will, that's a small group of individuals that basically take some of the concerns that are out there and try to see how they could apply to ordinance or not. I know in the past the ordinance committee has also worked on trying to get rid of outdated ordinances, trying to kind of modify things to be more up to date, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, so that it's not something that is stagnant. And that's not to say we don't have stagnant ordinances, by the way, but
Yeah.
trying to keep them up to date, keep them modernized, and certainly functional with state and federal laws as well. So I know that's something that takes a little bit of time for sure. So
Yeah, and we meet, and we're meeting next week.
yeah,
We try and meet, it's usually maybe once a month or every other month
Mhm.
to go over these things, and it takes time.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, that's the other thing I think it's good information is for the public to know is, you know, as a member of the council, city council is the legislative body and the fiscal body, right? So when there's ordinances that people want changed, the council is the ones that debate and discuss that, right?
Yes.
I'm in charge of enforcing those ordinances, but the council is in charge of determining whether the ordinances should be there, should be changed, shouldn't be there, things like that. And so the process of getting an ordinance through is not necessarily simple. It could be simple, but generally it takes 2 readings, right? Where the public can, 2 separate meetings, I should say. So it takes time for individuals to give feedback if they want, but also the crafting of the ordinance ahead of time. So some
Sometimes-
can be long, and yeah,
I mean, sometimes I know there's been some that's taken months, if not a year, to
Yes.
craft
yeah,
to get it tweaked just right, where it covers things legally,
yes,
a
yes.
legal standpoint, plus makes sense.
Yes. And there's been times where those same ordinances that have taken a year to put together have to end up getting changed a year or 2 later because some other scenario has changed. So
Yeah.
I think about food trucks, for instance. You know, that has been modified a couple of times just in the time that we've
Yeah.
been here, right? There's some. I know we've adjusted the golf cart ordinance a couple of times. Things
Multiple
there's-
times.
Yes, so there are things that I think we added an ATV UTV thing, and so there's been a lot of like changes along the way so that we don't get stagnant, but at the same time that we be thoughtful about that approach. And
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to know it's not like we just wing it
yes,
and just arbitrarily like, hey, we're gonna make this an ordinance or
Yes,
this,
yes.
or we're gonna change this. I mean, it is very well thought out, discussed, debated, pros and cons on both sides.
yeah,
You know, sometimes
absolutely.
in multiple meetings.
Yes.
And we try and come up with the best solution for everybody.
Mhm.
Some people are not gonna like, other people are gonna love, or
Sure.
vice versa. And so
Yes.
it's trying to find that balance
Mhm.
that will most positively affect the entire population. So,
And to that point, I think one challenge, and I'm not a council member, obviously, but one challenge of the council, I think, is that you get lots of opinions about different subjects, right? You have some people who really want one thing to happen, and a whole segment of other people that want the opposite to happen. And so, your job as elected, as I've seen you do, if you will, is to balance all those things out, take in the totality of knowledge you have and how those things would work in real life, and then try to make the best decision you can.
yeah, absolutely. And it's not always what would benefit me.
Sure.
Trust me, I hear,
Yeah.
there's been things that my wife said, why didn't you do that? Well, I mean, it's not for
Sure.
me, it's for like
It's-
everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so,
Yep.
we do the best with what we have to work with.
Yes.
And so that's all,
Absolutely. So changing gears a little bit, maybe, what has been the most fulfilling thing for you about being on council?
I think there's two things. One, seeing how the public gravitates to upgrades and expansions of services,
Sure.
facilities in the area, and just seeing people go there and talk about it. And I mean, I travel a lot, and so I go to different cities around the U.S. or different countries, and I see things in other areas that. Oh, I'm sorry, am I moving my hands?
That's okay.
again? I'm sorry.
we're gonna try to get this back again.
I'll try.
I gotta turn off this somehow.
I'll try and stay
So-
stagnant here.
No, it's okay. I think it's a. I don't know what's going on here, so this is gonna be a problem. I think. Anyways.
So I think that's one thing. Just seeing things being utilized in a positive way, and people really thriving and enjoying it.
Yes.
And second, just working on new things I like what I do with our company, Three Birds. I like thinking big picture vision, like long-term vision
Yes.
of things, and not where it is right now, but where we want to be in 3, 5, 10 years down the road. And I think I love doing that. So I really enjoy doing that. And
Yeah.
that's my passion.
Well,
So-
and I think ultimately the goal of continuing to move the community forward and continuing to make those changes that makes life better here, I think it's really to have 5 members of the council that I get to work with, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, at the very least bi-monthly, right?
Yeah.
Or every or
Yeah.
twice, I guess, maybe
Minimum.
bi-weekly at the minimum,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think it makes my life a lot easier, and I think it shows the partnership that we have between the executive and legislative branches. And not every government is like that, obviously. Sometimes we have a situation where the executive has different perspectives than the legislative body. Sometimes even the mayor and the court treasurer don't get along very well, and vice versa. But at the end of the day, I think we have a pretty cohesive vision for where the community goes, and as I talk to fellow mayors, when there's not cohesion between the council and the mayor, it creates a lot of division, and it creates issues even within the community. And so I'm very thankful, to your point, of having that idea of how can we continue to move together forward and build a community that we want to be not only proud of, but more importantly, that we can really enjoy for decades to come.
And I think one thing, I mean, I hear people that I talk with at church or out in the public.
Sure.
And sometimes people question, well, why are you doing this?
Yes.
We like it just how it is. Well, I guarantee you, if you leave
Yeah.
it just like it is, it will not stay just like it is.
Sure.
Because it'll regress, or it will always evolve. So the way
Yes.
that we're approaching it, at least the way it's evolving now, is
Yeah.
we're controlling the
Yes.
evolution as opposed to letting
Letting
other
it
things
happen,
dictate it.
external forces.
And
yes.
then
Yeah.
it becomes a dumpster fire.
Yes.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's well said. We're trying to be ahead of the curve
Yes.
always. Like, we're trying to think through that. So, what are some of your goals for the future of the city, or maybe even as a council member in the rest of this term? What are some goals you may have?
well, I think again, continuing to move forward with what's going on with the parks.
Yep.
Specifically Eagle Park.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we're making baby steps there and baby strides.
Mhm.
The skate park is another kind of thing I was passionate
Yep,
about.
yep.
And worked with Mike Thomas on that, and Lori and yourself and the rest of the council, and it's so great to see that.
Yes.
And to continue to add those building blocks to that, I think will overall increase the likability, walkability, usability of our entire city
Sure.
for the general public, and then the downtown, to see how that kind of changes with time, and we make upgrades to that.
Yes.
As long as we can afford it,
Yeah.
because as you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not cheap. And
Yes.
it's not free.
And it's not free. It's
You know,
yes.
there's always a give and take, and sometimes you just have to choose.
Yes.
Nope, we just can't.
Here's what we
can't
can
do it.
do. Do we want to do what
This
we
is
can
within our
do,
budget.
or do we just not want to do something because we can't do everything we want
Yeah,
to do, right?
so it's-
and I think about
yeah.
even the aquatic center at that point, right? I mean, we had a bigger, grander plan than what we
Yes.
currently have right now at the
Yeah.
aquatic center. But after we did the financials and figured out what we could actually handle or not handle, this is what we landed on. And it's still a great community amenity that people love, and people drive from other counties and frankly even other states
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
to come to. But it's not maybe what our grand plan was at the start.
No,
right?
I mean we revised it at least 3 or 4 times. I know.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, cutting things out
Yes.
of budget and how
Over a what, 2.5
All right,
year
if we,
period or
we
3 year
take
period?
this row of lockers
Yep.
out in each locker room, and
Yep.
that's
Yep.
going to cut this. And that's just you have to.
Yes.
You know, we don't have a finite budget.
Yes.
So.
Well, but even as a business owner,
Or we
right?
do have a finite budget.
Well, we have a
Not
finite,
an
but yes.
indefinite
Yes,
budget.
yes.
So.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you know, as a business owner, you have to do that with your own company, right? And
Absolutely.
so I think that while it's hard for government, I'm getting way too theoretical here, but it's hard for government to act as a business because we're not set up as a business, and
Yeah.
we really can't be set up as a business. There's so many other external factors that we have to do that maybe businesses can be a little more nimble, right? But at the end of the day, applying some of the business principles that you and many of the other council members who own private businesses, by the way, apply to our government, I think it makes it a lot easier and better for our residents because you are applying those principles.
Yeah, and it just makes sense. You don't want to overspend.
Well,
Overspend and underdeliver.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a sure way to go bankrupt.
Yes, absolutely. And frankly, you know, lose the faith of the public.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if you promise that we're going to do this grand plan of, you know, we're going to make the next Disney World in Columbia City, which, by the way, Disney, if you're watching, be happy to entertain you here.
We could
but
probably find a couple hundred acres for you.
yes, I'm sure we could find some land for you. But nevertheless, I mean, if we promise we're going to build Disney World and we end up, you know, putting a merry-go-round in and that's it, that's probably losing faith in the public,
Yes.
right? That's a terrible example, by the way. But just
We have no plans
we'll
for a new
cut
merry-go-round,
that
by the
part
way.
out before. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. So, anyways, okay. So, what is, and we maybe have talked about this, but I'm not sure. What is one thing that the public doesn't know that you do as a council member?
Yeah, I bet most people don't know that each of the council members, we all serve on additional committees. So it's not like we just
Show up
come
twice
in-
a month.
We just show up twice a month and talk for an hour,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then
And then head home.
you know I know I have 2 meetings just next week.
Yes.
You know, and then outside the meetings, I meet with people, I talk with people. It's almost like, and you know this better than I do. I mean, you're on call all the time.
All the time. Yes.
You know, you're on call,
Yeah.
especially, you know, you're on call
Yeah.
24 hours a day,
Yeah.
regardless of where you are, or, and you're always looking for different things and, you know, program. I just sent you a message that you responded
Yeah,
to just yesterday, thank you,
Yeah.
about a program I had never heard of
Yeah.
before.
Yes.
And so we're always looking for ways to, you know, just find different avenues
Yeah.
that we can help and do things for the community that will, I always say this, and you've heard me say this,
Mhm.
a high tide raises all boats.
Yes.
And so find ways to raise that tide so everybody across the board, regardless of where you live or your socioeconomic level,
Yes.
status, it doesn't matter. So it just makes it better for everybody.
Right.
So,
And I think that's a really good point. I mean, ultimately, what I found myself doing, obviously, before I became mayor, but really after I became mayor, and I'm sure you see it too, I know you do because we've talked about it, is that when you go into other places, other cities, other towns, other counties, other states or countries, right? Like, you start to see things and they're like, ooh, I wonder how we could apply that in our community because it looks like it would be really beneficial, right? And it may not be something where it's, we scale it, right? I guess the
Yeah,
point is,
yeah.
is you know, if there's a mural somewhere that's like, oh, that's a really cool way in which they've utilized that mural. How can we somehow attach that to our community in a scaled way or something? So, you know, I'm sure you find yourself doing similar
absolutely.
things like that.
Yeah.
So,
So one
Yeah,
other
go ahead.
thing that
Yeah.
I think that people may not be aware of, not necessarily about me, is it's funny. We have these discussions with, I have adult kids who live here in town, and so they're not. I guess they're not kids anymore. They're my children who are adults now.
Adult children.
And
yes.
so we have these discussions about just things, and I think there's a lot of people who don't realize, like when they flip their light switch, how the lights come on, and
Yeah.
or when they flush their toilet, that where that goes,
Yes.
how it goes,
Yes.
why it goes,
Yes, yes.
They turn their faucets on and how the water comes out, and I see and I hear things that people say and mention, and my eyes have been open since I've been on council. I think so many people take that for granted, and how efficiently and effectively it works. Does it work perfectly? Absolutely not. And
No,
I guarantee
it doesn't.
you, it never will.
Yes.
But
yes.
we have it pretty dialed in, and it works very efficiently. Especially, I just spent a bunch of time in Indonesia. Things don't work there. Citywide, in a city of 9 million people.
Yes. Yes.
Things
don't work.
don't work. And so
Yeah.
I would say that's a thing
Yeah.
that I think we take for granted.
Perspective, right?
Yeah,
Perspective,
and
yes.
so we're really blessed to live here.
Yeah.
And things don't work always 100% perfectly all the time, but for the most part, they work really well.
I think that is something where it's really easy to overlook or not consider, if you will, when everything, not everything, but a lot of that stuff is buried underground, right? When you drive down the road or you walk down the sidewalk, you're walking over sewer pipes or water pipes or stormwater pipes, right? Electrical lines, things like that sometimes. And hopefully you're not walking over electrical lines. Hopefully they're buried and you're walking on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But yes, anyways. But long story short, though, is sometimes it's really easy to take those for granted because you don't see them, and you don't. Again, as long as your toilet's flushing and your your lights turn on when you turn on the electric, or you flip the switch or whatever, or you turn on the faucet and the water's flowing, you're in good shape, right? So I get that completely. How can residents in your district contact you?
Ideally, email tvarga@columbiacity.net is the best. I check it every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may not be till midnight, but I check it every day.
Yes.
So that's probably the best way. And I travel a lot, but my
Yeah. The hours are a little weird sometimes.
my hours,
but,
are definitely probably a little different than the typical.
Yes.
But
yes.
still, I'll get back to you usually within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And work through whatever we need to work through.
Yep.
Yeah.
And and as always, I'm sure we never, I shouldn't say never, but we rarely have people come to council meetings too. So I mean, I always encourage, if you have an issue, I always encourage you to contact your council member, contact me, depending on the scenario. If it's a legislative matter or something, call them or email them. If it's a administrative matter of some sort, that's where you contact my office. But we always welcome people. It's an open public meeting to council meetings. They are the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, unless there's a change, which we usually notify the public that way for those. But 6:00 p.m. in the council chambers, pretty like clockwork. Let's say it that way. So
I see a lot of people who put comments out on social media, whether they want to change something or they have suggestions. Come to city council, make your suggestion. You'll have the right people there.
Yes.
At
Department
the
heads are
right
there,
time.
council members there, I'm there.
Instead of putting on
Usually.
social media
Yes.
and then 'cause
Blasting it into the universe, if you will.
I check
Yes.
that maybe once a month. So.
I gotcha.
But if you come to council, you're going to get in front of the right people at the right time.
So I'm going to ask you a weird question that's not on my list. What? And it's a little bit out of left field, but I feel like you're probably really well equipped to answer this question. And that is, what kind of person makes a good council member? Like, when you were running for council for the first time and the subsequent times after that, you probably had to ask yourself, would I make a good council member, right? So, like, what makes a good council member? Like, I know what I would believe is a good council member, but from a council perspective, what makes a good council member?
So I think, one, you have to be able to look at things from multiple angles.
Gotcha.
and different perspectives
Yep.
as opposed to, and I'm sure there's some, I'm not saying on our council,
Sure,
but
sure.
in politics in general, they're
Yeah.
very narrow-minded and very tunnel vision on certain things and certain topics.
Yes.
But I think it makes sense. I mean, you can have a bias towards leaning one direction or another on
Sure.
a certain issue, but I think you have to be open to at least hearing
Mm-hmm.
what other people have to say.
Gotcha.
And then being able to decipher that information
Mm-hmm.
in a logical way with some emotion,
Well,
because
sure.
you always have that balance.
Sure.
And again, but it takes time, so that you have to have time. It's not, again, we just discussed that. It's not like
Yeah.
you know, you're in one night every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes some devotion, I think, to do it properly.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure you could probably skim by or by doing less, but
Yeah.
in order to do a good job of it, you have to invest your time and energy into not just the processes, but also being out in the community. And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers
No,
the
I
question.
think it does. I mean,
So-
at the end of the day, I think being a good public servant in general is having that balanced approach, right? Being
Yeah.
someone who can take the concerns of individuals and process them through with the departments and look at how we do things with ordinances and you know, take information from lots of different people and then make it the best decision you can. And sometimes at the end of that we go, oh, we kind of messed up. We need to tweak that again or whatever. We do that actually.
Admit when we're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not right 100% of the time.
We are not. We
If
are
we
not.
were,
We probably
we
wouldn't
probably
be,
wouldn't be here.
We probably wouldn't be here. So, okay. Well, is there anything else you want the public to know?
I think I can't really think of anything. I mean, this is
Okay.
great. I love it. I think it's good
Appreciate that.
to hear. I think it's good to hear from different people and what's going on in the city. So this is a great
Yeah.
venue to do that. So.
Great. Well, thanks, Tad. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. We didn't talk about it, but if you want to see your way out,
Okay.
that's good. Thank you, sir. Again,
You're
T.
welcome.
Varga at ColumbiaCity.net. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
welcome.
it.
We'll see ya.
Have a great rest of the day. Appreciate that. So, in any case, everybody, I just appreciate that. As always, if you have questions of me, go ahead and put them in the chat if you're watching on Facebook. If you are watching on YouTube, you can contact me, like I said, in the numerous ways that I have. Let's see if, oh, that's not right here. Hold on. I'm going to get there. There we go. Okay. So, sorry about the whole camera thing. As you know, it seems like every time I have a Lunch with the Mayor program, I have technological issues. I'm a one-man band here, so I'm trying to do everything on my own. So thank you for giving me a lot of grace on trying to figure this out, and I've already locked in there. Okay, let's see if that works. Hopefully that works. Okay. So, okay. Let's talk about a couple past issues here. I did get something on here from Brian. I know, Brian, you and I have had this conversation, I think, through social media, but I understand you want the potholes fixed in front of KFC. Again, that's not a city street. We can't go and do something on a non-city street. We don't have that authority, legal authority to do that. So, again, I would say what I've said before, and that is you need to contact that restaurant. You need to contact those individuals. Find out how find out who the ownership is or whoever, and go after them and ask them to make that change. So that's the best I can tell you there. Thank you, Jeremy. Betsy, why is our water tasted so bad this week? I don't know. My water at home has not tasted bad, so I'm not sure. As always, what I would say is that if you're assuming you're on city water, so my suggestion would be, if you have questions about that, you can call our city utilities, 260-248-5100, or you can call our water department. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but if you call that utilities number during normal business hours, they can then connect you to the water department. So I apologize for the water not tasting good, if that's been the case for you guys. It hasn't at my house, but that doesn't mean anything. It just means that my house has been that way. So, so I'm sorry for that, Betsy, and hopefully we'll get that worked out. But I would encourage you, if you have questions about your water, questions about anything like that utility-wise, call our utility office as a starting spot. Okay? Okay, let's talk about a couple of past issues. I will come back if you do have questions there. Go ahead and put them in the comments. A couple of past issues. Our Blue River Trail extension that we're doing. Most of the trail is complete. There are still some things we're working on. The contractor is continuing to work on those ramps, some minor portions of the trail. One segment that is still to be finished is the railroad crossing. You can cross it, but it is not necessarily up to ADA standards right now. So we've been working with the railroad on this for a while, let's just say it that way. And we had a plan of action, and then we finally got the cost of that plan of action from the railroad, and it was significantly more. I don't remember what I've said in past meetings, but significantly more than we expected it to be. So we went back to the drawing board to say, hey, is there a different way we can do this? And so that's where we're at right now. But the trail, generally speaking, is pretty much done. There's a couple of things that we're going to have to do. I think there's a crossing on Main Street. We're going to be putting in some concrete there and doing some things like that so that there's a pedestrian island. There may be something on Radio Road as well. I'm not 100% sure on that one, honestly. But generally, we are working on some of those components. But generally, it's going to be done before school. Well, when school starts, which is next Friday. So I'm happy about that. I wish that it was completely done, but it is definitely walkable, bikeable, etc. So I'm happy about that. US 30 Pell study is completed. The final report is publicly available at propelus30.com. Again, as always, I'm going to say sign up for our rave notification system so you get firsthand text from us, whether it's meetings coming up, whether it is Aquatic Center has to close because of weather is bad or we're reaching capacity, whether it's about baseball and softball programs or emergency situations, things like that. I encourage you to sign up on our rave notification system. Probably won't talk much about this, but I mentioned it at the last meeting or in our last lunch with the mayor. The former Whitley County Jail, we did do some work, some financial work on that. And the financials are just not really in our favor. There's definitely, obviously, the changes of property taxes happening right now. We are kind of re-looking at it and kind of trying to decide what the next step is. What I've said is that we have to be real cognizant of how we use our dollars. I'm definitely not raising taxes for that project, so we're trying to figure out kind of what to do. However, I will say, on the tax front, we did a little bit of analysis here in my office. My assistant actually did some analysis, which was really good. And we found out that our city, the city of Columbia City, has the 9th lowest city tax rate in the state of Indiana. So out of 120 cities, Columbia City has the 9th lowest property tax rate of all cities in Indiana. I think that's a really positive thing. I understand it doesn't mean, if your assessment goes up, and you're still paying more money. I understand that could be frustrating. But I do want you to know we provide I think we try really hard to provide a really good government service for the 9th lowest property tax rate in the state of Indiana for cities. So in any case, just wanted to let you know about that. I thought that was a really cool stat. It's not something that we necessarily, are super boastful about, but we try really hard to keep the property taxes where they need to be and stuff. So just as a side note, I thought that was interesting. Comprehensive plan update. Our team is still currently working on the update of the comprehensive plan. Right now we're working on land use maps and existing conditions report. We have an additional steering committee meeting, I think it's coming up here in a month or so. So we continue to work on that. Appreciate everybody that has filled out the online survey. If you've not done that, go ahead and get on my city Facebook page. There is a link somewhere in there in the feed. I put it out a couple of times, so I'm not sure. I think the survey's still up, but it may be expired by the time that you're seeing this. I'm not sure. So, couple other things. Okay, Sarah has a great question. Look at you paying attention to things. That's great. I appreciate that. She says, with the changes to CCMG, which is Community Crossings Matching Grant Program, that is the fund that the grant fund that we go after with the Indiana Department of Transportation to get basically paving money each year to match our local paving money. So, do you have a plan of attack for CC to use those funds for projects? You've done a great job at using the available funds in the past. Appreciate that. That's very kind of you, Sarah. What I will tell you is we have had a every other year plan for Westgate. So in 22 we did the east side the east side of Westgate, which sounds weird, but if you live there, you know what I mean. In 2024 we did the central part of Westgate, and so for 2026 we will hopefully finish the west side of the Westgate subdivision and be effectively done with the infrastructure improvements there. We, in the past, obviously this year, we did about $1 million and change worth of paving. We thought the overall cost would be about $1.5 million. It ended up being less than that, so we actually got a bigger bang for our buck, if you will, in that regard. So in anyways, every year we are planning to apply. Let me back up. We have applied every year and will continue to apply every year for the Community Crossings Matching Grant Program. Again, it's a way in which we can maximize our local dollars with the state dollars. So again, they have changed that, as you mentioned, they've changed it so that it's $1 million max instead of $1.5 million maximum grant. And so, that stinks, but at the end of the day, if we were a smaller community, it'd be really great because it actually lowered our match amount to 20% rather than 25%. The problem is we try to max that out, and usually we're putting more money than that match into the project, if you will. So it actually is detrimental to us for that amount to go from $1.5 million to $1 million. I'm probably getting too deep in the weeds here, but that's ultimately what we're going to do. So next year, let me back up. Our plan for this year's application, which would be constructed next year, would be for us to do the third phase of Westgate. Again, we did a lot of paving. I heard from a lot of you about that. But hopefully you like the smoother roads and things like that that's happening. So that's a really long answer to a short question. Sorry, Sarah. But we'll continue to work on that. So, speaking of the Community Crossings Matching Grant Program, our paving project is basically done. In fact, I think it is done. We have paving and striping in the ramps. Those are all things that are completed. I think all the signal work was done at that North Street and Line Street intersection. I think that's all completed as well. So I'm pretty sure our paving project is officially done in that regard. Those of you that are going back are taking your kids back to Mary Raber, you will notice that we have partnered with the school corporation to pave the alley that is between Van Buren Street and Mary Raber, basically. The alley that all the parents use, that I used for 5 years and aren't going to be using anymore. But so we've updated that alley so that it's a paved alley now, so it should make it a lot easier for parents and not having to dodge the potholes. And frankly, from our perspective, it helps us a lot because we're not going in and grinding or filling the potholes. Let's just say it that way in that alley. So. One other thing that has happened and is going to continue happening is our partnership with HomeServe on the Service Line Warranty Program. It is a partnership between the city and that program. That program is endorsed by the National League of Cities. But basically, those are mailings that residents get, our utility customers get. That basically says, hey, it's an education piece of here is the responsibility of the homeowner, here's the responsibility of the city. If something happens in the service line if it's on water, between the water meter and your home, or if it's sewer, between the sewer line in the road typically and your house, those are the responsibility of the homeowner. So it gives you an option. It's just an option. If you want to sign up for their program, it's basically a warranty program. So it's a, give or take, it's an insurance program of sorts. So again, completely up to the resident. Whether or not you want to purchase it, that's up to you. It's not something the city mandates. It's not something we would ever do that. So that is that. So I did get another question. It looks like, will the trail that leads from Irish Glen to the park ever be paved like the Bluebird Trails behind the YMCA? Good question, Jenny. We've had conversations. So we're talking about the trail at behind Irish Glen that kind of weaves itself through the woods down to Morses Park. We've had lots of conversations over many years on how to do that appropriately. The challenge is the topography is really steep, and so in order to actually do a paved trail or to be able to, in order to get it to be smooth enough or ADA accessible, which again, if we're going to do something like that, we have to make it ADA accessible. The challenge is we would have to do a lot of switchbacks, which means we'd have to clear a lot of trees, which may take away from kind of the naturalistic part of that. I understand there's pros and cons to that. Frankly, it's kind of been more of a money issue than anything else, of just trying to figuring out how we actually get down the hill on that trail. So I know that's not a good answer, but I know that the park board and the park director, myself, etc., we've talked about that a fair amount over the last, I don't know, 5 years probably, and just trying to figure out what the best case scenario is without having to really demolish a lot of the forest, and at the same time making it safer for residents. So hopefully hopefully that gives you the answer, at least information and background. It may not be the answer you want, but it is something that continues in discussion, let's say it that way. Another thing we continue to have discussion about is the trail that goes, the little path that goes between Columbia Parkway and River Run Court. That there's a little cut through path there that is sort of mulch, sort of grass. So little things like that we've looked at, again, with financial outlook going 3 to 5 years. With some of the changes the state's made, it makes it a lot more challenging to do those kind of projects. I think the last thing I heard is multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars of our budget that we're going to have to cut because of the property tax change. So we're working through that. That's the best I can say right now. So, okay, I'm going to keep going here. As I mentioned the last time, our new ordinance or our code enforcement coordinator is, or ordinance enforcement coordinator, whatever that position's name is. I forget the name of it. I think it's code enforcement, but started working on making kind of our community a little safer, a little cleaner, working on multiple projects around the city where things just kind of got pushed to the wayside, and he's trying to get those things addressed, and so we appreciate his efforts. 50/50 sidewalk program applications are still being accepted. Street Department website is where we house all of those things, but I will tell you that we have to have a completed signed agreement by August 31st. So if you have an interest in doing the 50/50 sidewalk program, go to the website today or soon and get that filled out and get it back to my office, because we're running out of daylight. Let's just say it that way. We're running out of daylight. Downspout disconnection and rain barrel rebate programs are still in effect. Look at the Stormwater's webpage. Russell and Evelyn Fall Aquatic Center is now moving to weekends after today. So it'll be all weekends from here on out. And I think the last day is August 24th. So I think that means if you include this weekend, I think that means there's 3 weekends left of our aquatic center being open. I know that's a bummer, okay? And I also know that there's questions of, oh, well, there's so much summer left. I get that. But when you take into account the fact that we have a lot of college and high school students that are going back to school during this time frame, sports are starting back up for a lot of them, things like that, it creates a challenge where we don't have enough lifeguards to open the facility. So I know it stinks, and I'm sorry. As I talk to my fellow mayors across the state, we all have that same issue, which is the fact that our lifeguards are students. And once the students start going back to school, we don't have enough lifeguards to keep our aquatic center open. So sorry about that, but I do hope that you'll soak up what's left of that season. Again, last day for the Aquatic Center to be open is August 24th. I mentioned this at the last meeting. Trick or Treat will be on Halloween this year from 5 to 8 p.m. And so again, that's a little different. We've stuck to Saturdays previously, but because Halloween's on a Friday night this year, we decided to adjust that. You can pretty much bet that next year, since Halloween will fall on a Saturday, we will probably also be on the 31st next year as well. But that's just for your pre-planning. If you're like me, I plan months and sometimes years ahead, and so now you know. September, we are going to be working to transition all of our live stream city meetings, not Lunch with the Mayor, over to YouTube directly. So if you've been on the city's webpage, or I'm sorry, the city's YouTube page, you have been able to see the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Plan Commission. Those videos go directly into YouTube. They don't record on Facebook. Facebook has changed their video policy, so they are deleting Facebook videos every 30 days. So from a posterity sake, we moved all of those over to YouTube anyways. We're recording them and then moving them over. We're just going to skip a step and just start doing everything on YouTube. Now these videos will continue to record and then pop over to YouTube. Usually it's a couple of days, but yeah, so that's kind of our plan of action for that. And the other thing I'll say that's actually kind of new and breaking news, if you will. So for the 21 people on here at this very moment on Facebook, you now are the first people to know this, although I don't know that it's really a secret, is that the Movie on the Square for 2025, which is taking place on the evening of September 5th, the Movie on the Square will be Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. So we are already in the we're already working on planning for that movie. So please plan to attend the first Friday on September 5th and then stay over at 9 o'clock for the Movie on the Square, which again will be Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. That is the newer version, which has Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, and some of the others there. I think Jack Black may be in there. So in any case, that was pretty, I won't say overwhelming, but it was a very large favorite in our Facebook poll. I was personally hoping to have The Hook. I'm a big Hook fan. I'm really sad I won't be able to say Rufio. But Jumanji's a good movie too. So, question: will you take questions during those meetings? Susie, we won't be taking social media questions, or I guess YouTube questions from those meetings, if you will. There's really not a good way of doing that. And honestly, what we found is that we're able to better answer those questions in this format, or by calling or emailing or things like that. So no, we won't be doing any kind of not Facebook messaging. We won't be doing any YouTube comments, if you will, on YouTube. But instead, this is the best way. So hopefully that's an answer for you there. I did get a couple other questions from residents, or from a resident here, regarding the use of kind of motorized scooters and bicycles and things like that. There's been a lot of conversation regarding those kind of vehicles among different mayors across Northeast Indiana. Figure out how to address those in the best way possible. So if you do have motorized scooters or bicycles, any kind of motorized thing, please use those appropriately. Please be cautious of vehicular traffic, things like that. Again, I think those, if it's motorized, it probably should be on the road, but you have to be really, really careful, obviously, with vehicles there. So, obviously, the parks are an option as a recreational piece, if you will. Trails, though, you got to be real careful. Trails are not supposed to be used for motorized vehicles. There is one exemption, if you will, which is the trail from Morshes Park up to Damoni Grimes. I believe that can be used for golf carts or motorized scooters, I think. So check the ordinances on that. So also, yes, be cautious about basketball goals. If you have basketball goals and your kids are playing in the street, I would suggest, obviously it's never good to be playing in the street, especially if it's a through street. If you're on a cul-de-sac, maybe there's a little bit of a different thing there. Just be cautious about that. If it becomes an issue, if you see problems, obviously you can contact us and we can go take a look at it, things like that. That's to be the same thing really with most things, is that if there's an issue that you think is against the ordinance or you have questions about whether things are a part of the ordinance or not, feel free to contact my office, or you can contact obviously directly the police department, and they can probably answer a lot of the questions there. So, and then also, this is something that keeps coming up, and I don't know how to stop it. If our police officers see it, we can stop it there. But if we don't see it, I just really want to encourage you, if you will, that when you see a stop sign, that you actually stop at a stop sign. I personally have seen so many times individuals roll through stop signs, turn right on stops without stopping, things like that. I just really want to caution you to please stop at the stop sign. It's not a suggestion. It is a mandate. That doesn't mean roll through it. It means literally and physically come to a stop. I'm not trying to be your mom, but I would ask that you please take caution and to stop at actual stop signs. It drives me insane that I see that a lot. I guess I don't know that I have the ability to. I have a citizen's arrest. No, I don't. I really don't. But in any case, I would just ask that you please be cautious about that. Stop at stop signs. Don't speed in neighborhoods. Be cautious of people that are out and about. All those kind of good things. Okay? Let's talk about calendar items because we're almost out of time. August 9th, the Woodlands Senior Center is having a classic car, truck, and motorcycle show. That's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, at the Woodlands Senior Center. August 12th, Board of Works and City Council meetings. That's at 5 and 6 o'clock respectively. Here in the council, well, not here. Here in City Hall, in the council chambers. That's near my office on the second floor. Public is welcome to attend those. 5 o'clock Board of Works, 6 o'clock City Council. August 15th, first day of school for Whitley County Consolidated Schools. Welcome back, students. We hope you have a wonderful year. We hope you have a great year of learning. Teachers, bus drivers, administrators, paraprofessionals, etc. Thank you for pouring into our kids. Thank you in advance for pouring into our kids over the next 9 or 10 months or whatever that ends up being. We appreciate all that you do. And while it's not super easy necessarily right now in the education system, we know there's a lot of really, really good people that are pouring their heart, soul, mind, strength, blood, sweat, tears, etc. into our students to help them have a better life and help them be educated and ready to face the world. So thank you for all that you all do each and every day. August 15th, Millers is hosting Millers at Oak Point is hosting a car show from 1 to 2:30 p.m. August 16th through 17th is the 71st annual Mizpah Shrine Charity Horse Show at the Shrine Horse Grounds. August 21st is the Whitley Chamber Birdies, Beers, and Barbecue Golf Outing at Eagle Glen. Contact the Chamber for more information there. August 23rd, Troy Schools Band Together concert at the Mizpah Shrine Horse Grounds from 4:30 to 8 p.m. Tickets are required for that. September 1st is Labor Day. City Hall is closed that day. September 5th is the next Lunch with the Mayor. September 5th is also First Friday and Movie on the Square. This is your 3-minute warning. If you have questions for me and you're on the live stream, put them in the comment section. I will try to get those answered before the end. And again, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and shoot me an email, rdaniel@columbiacity.net, or call my office, 260-248-5111. September 5th is First Friday and Movie on the Square. So carve that out in your schedule. September 13th is the 9th annual Cam Run Walk 2.8 supporting Riley's NICU bereavement program, and that starts at the Fire Museum. September 18th is the Driving Hope Golf Outing for Mission 25 at Eagle Glen. That starts at 9 a.m. September 20th is Prism Fest from 2 to 9 p.m. in downtown. September 26th is the last day of art at the museum for the Whitley County Historical Museum. So that's happening right now. I think on weekdays they're open for that art at the museum project. September 27th is the Public Safety Festival from 9 to noon. Lots of public safety entities will be in downtown Columbia City. That is also the last day of the farmers market. So come downtown at 8 o'clock is when farmers market starts. 9 o'clock is when the Public Safety Festival starts. Come downtown, bring your kids. There's going to be, I think we give free bike helmets and other things that are going to be given out thanks to some generous donors. We have lots of different entities. I think last year the big deal was Jaws of Life. I think they're planning to potentially do that again. So a lot of things that are happening at the Public Safety Festival. Bring your family. Again, September 27th, Public Safety Festival, and the last day of the Whitley County Farmers Market. So when you come downtown, go to both things. They're right next to each other. They're kind of in collaboration with one another. And Farmers Market goes until 12:30. Public Safety Festival goes until noon. So that's kind of the fun things happening downtown on the 27th. Also the 27th, the Buckle Bash by the Mizpah Shrine Horse Patrol will be happening at 3 p.m. That's the start time at the Shrine Horse Grounds, so feel free to check that out. I believe there's some information on Facebook about that, or I'm assuming you can find the Mizpah Shrine webpage as well. September 17th is the Farm to Fork Giving Gardens Dinner. You can find out more information on Facebook there. And October 17th is the Columbia City Connect Ladies Night Out in downtown Columbia City from 6 to 9 p.m. That is what's on my calendar. I don't see any comments, at least at this moment, for people waiting to say anything. So I want to encourage you maybe a couple of things before I go. First thing is, I want to encourage you that when City Scene comes out here, City Scene is our quarterly newsletter that the city puts out every quarter. Obviously, it's quarterly. That'll go out in, I believe, September, beginning of September. It'll be on our city website. It also gets emailed to all of the city customers, city residents that are on our email list from the clerk's office. I want to encourage you to, if you would be so kind as to read my article in full. I want to talk. I'm talking. I know you guys are probably so sick and tired of hearing me talk about property taxes, but I think what I've learned more than anything else is that there's a disconnect and a misunderstanding of what property taxes are for and how they get collected and things like that. We know that assessments are what drives the bills. We are capped at the amount of money that we actually can collect, or that our budget can grow each year from a city's perspective. And again, as I said earlier, we have one of the lowest property tax rates in the whole of all cities in the whole state of Indiana. So I would ask that you consider reading my full article in that City Scene newsletter. You may disagree with it, and that's okay. I'm trying to get as much information out so that you're educated, so you're an educated citizen. And I know a part of that, being educated, is watching this program. So I do want to thank you for tuning in, whether you're on Facebook or whether later you're on YouTube and you sit through an hour of this. I really, really appreciate it. I want to thank Tad Varga, who was my guest today. Appreciate him as a council member, certainly as a friend as well. I'm very blessed and honored to have this position as your mayor. I'm going to try to do everything I can do each and every day to make life better here in Columbia City. And I hope you'll join me in doing that, whether it's talking to a neighbor, whether it's working with a nonprofit or donating money or time or energy. I hope that you too will also help make our community better each day than it was the day before. Help us build a future together. Thank you for tuning in. As always, you can contact my office, 260-248-5111, rdaniel@columbiacity.net. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful rest of summer, whatever's left of it. And we'll see you again next time on September, September 5th, the next Lunch with the Mayor. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.